This is Mac Pro 2013. Oh, sorry, not this one. This is Mac Pro 2013, aka Trashcan. The starting price for this Mac was crazy $2,999 back in 2013. But I got this one for only 8% of its original price. Is anything wrong with this device and will I still be able to use it in 2023? Let's find out. As the prices for Mac Pro 2013 started to fall dramatically about a year ago, I finally decided to give it a try and buy one. I found this Mac Pro for only $253.94. The title stated the device was loaded with 32GB of RAM, 1TB of SSD, and basic Xeon quad-core processor. According to seller's description, there are two issues with the Mac Pro. First, the Mac cannot detect SSD. Second, it is firmware locked, or better to say EFI locked, which means I cannot restore macOS or load from external drive. There was only one photo of the housing of the Mac, but it looks pretty good. Once I received the item, it was time to unbox it. The condition of the Mac Pro looked really awesome. Minor scratches noticed on the outside. I personally love the design of this machine. It looks modern even after 10 years of its original release date. The glossy finish on a dark anodized aluminum looks gorgeous. The item also included the power cable, not original one, as it should be black, but the one from the iMac. Now let me try to turn it on and see what is wrong with it. The Mac includes a cool feature, integrated sensor that illuminates the I/O panel on the Mac Pro to help you plug in cables. When trying to load in restore mode, I can see a lock screen, which means this Mac Pro is firmware locked. Luckily, I have experience with unlocking Macs, so this project is feasible. The CMOS serial flash where the firmware password is stored is located on the board, which is mounted on the bottom of the mini tower. In order to remove it, I need to disassemble the bottom part of the Mac. So let's get it unlocked. Despite being the less upgradable device, this Mac Mini is really easy to get in. There is no special screwdriver needed, just a simple latch on the back that unlocks the external housing. Lift it up and you're presented with the backs of the CPU and GPU cards. Behind is the removable PCI SSD. There are 4 DDR3 DIMM slots on both sides of the Mac Pro, upgradable up to 64GB in total. Only the CPU board is hidden behind I/O panel. I will start by removing the RAM sticks and SSD in order not to damage it during disassembly. In my case, I have Mac Pro packed with 4 sticks of 8GB DDR3 RAM and 1TB PCI SSD, as it was described in the listing. Next, I need to remove the bottom part of the Mac Pro tower, which is held by 5 screws. With the help of the screwdriver, I can easily remove them one by one. After removing the bottom metal cover, I need to unscrew two screws which holds the interconnect board. Once it is done, I will unplug two connectors from the dual GPU boards and lift up the interconnect board from the power connector. Next, I will unplug third connector which is responsible for communication with I/O panel. Now I have full access to the interconnect board. Here is CMOS serial flash where the password data is stored. With the help of my Raspberry Pi, I will be reading data from it. The serial flash has 8 pins, same as the clip from the Raspberry Pi, which I'll be placing on it. Before that, I will do a bit of cleaning. Now I can connect the clip to the serial flash. Once the clip is properly placed, I will start the flashing process. I will connect to my Raspberry Pi via SSH in order to enter commands for reading and writing data. After reading several times the serial flash dump, I confirmed that the checksum is the same for each read, which means it was done properly. With the help of the hex editor, I can open previously read dump file and overwrite the part where the password was stored. Once the file was saved, I will write it to the serial flash. Writing data successfully completed. Now let me take a closer look at the architecture of this machine. A giant triangle-shaped heatsink is located in the center of the Mac Pro tower, which is responsible for cooling CPU board together with two GPU boards. Back in 2013, Apple thought multi-GPU support in professional applications will be the next industry standard, but instead the industry preferred to scale single GPU up to increase performance. This is a 10 years old machine, that's why I decided to change thermal paste for both dual GPUs and CPU. Because of the complex construction of this device, I need to disassemble almost all components to get access to the CPU. I will remove the top case by unscrewing 5 screws which hold it. Before removing the fan, I need to remove another 2 screws and disconnect the fan connector together with antenna connector. Each of the 2 GPUs has 4 screws which hold in the metal bracket for GPU die and 2 screws on the top. Now I will gently pry GPU a bit and remove it. The same steps will be used to remove the second GPU. Once it is done, I will remove 2 screws, which keeps the logic board in place. Next, I need to remove 2 screws, which holds the power supply cage. Inside we can find another 4 screws, which connects the PCU to chassis. Now I will need to remove the CPU and the logic board from the heatsink. The CPU is held on with 8 screws. The outer hold it to the heatsink, so these are the only that I will need to remove. Once they are gone, I will remove the CPU logic board as it is attached to the heatsink with the thermal paste only. Now I have a fully disassembled Mac Pro 2013. A lot of work just to get the CPU out. This was one of the reasons why this model was not that popular. Now it's time to get rid of old thermal paste from both GPUs and CPU. Lots of dust was stored inside of the components during 10 years. That's why I decided to do a bit of cleaning. Next, I will apply new thermal paste on the CPU and mount it back. Same I will do for both GPUs. Once it is done, I can assemble all the other components back to its original state. After assembly is fully completed, I will install fresh version of macOS Monterey. Mac was successfully unlocked, and now I am able to reinstall macOS from external USB drive. As I was expecting, there's no any issue with SSD, it was just the firmware lock. After formatting SSD, I proceed installing macOS. Once the installation is done, I can do the initial setup. Everything seems to work fine. CPU, RAM and both GPUs were properly detected. I was wondering if the Mac Pro 2013 is still a Pro 10 years later. Spoiler alert, it performs pretty good. I decided to compare my Mac Pro with Mac Mini M1 configured with 16GB of RAM. Starting with SSD speed test, Mac Mini showed almost twice better result than Mac Pro. Its SSD is insanely fast. When I was running Geekbench test, Mac Mini edged out Mac Pro in both single and multi-core scores, which is pretty expected. But the GPU test showed that Mac Pro has better OpenCL score and pretty much the same Metal score, which was a big surprise to me. But what about running apps? I tried to compile Xcode application with lots of dependencies on both machines, and Mac Mini showed almost twice better result than Mac Pro. When it comes to Final Cut Pro, playback and scrub through process in a 7 minutes 4K video was pretty good on both machines. But when trying to export the video, there was a big difference. It took Mac Mini 51 seconds to export 1 minute and 42 seconds 4K video, while Mac Pro was exporting same video for 5 minutes and 31 seconds, which is 6.6 times longer. Do all of these tests confirm that Mac Pro is a good deal to buy nowadays? I would say yes. But if you would like to have up-to-date device which can do most of your professional work, I would better pick up Mac Mini, even the basic one. If you like this video, smash that like button. If you want to see more, hit subscribe button. And I see you in the next one.